Okay, ready to dive in?
Always.
All right. Today we're looking into the Sarah Turner case.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and we're using that Criminal Shadows episode you sent me.
Yeah.
The Vanishing of Sarah Turner, a case of secrets and lies.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, it was really good. I have to admit,
Mm.
I always get hooked on true crime podcasts.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah. And this one, oh my gosh, so many twists and turns. I was
Yeah.
like on the edge of my seat.
It's amazing, isn't it, how
Yeah.
these stories, like, they really pull you in,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
It's like this need to understand
Yeah.
that darker side of human nature.
I think so.
And,
Yeah.
searching for answers,
Mm.
that feeling of relief when justice is served, even if
Yeah.
it's fictional.
Especially when it's fictional.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like you can enjoy it more.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what really struck me about Sarah's story was how relatable she seemed.
Mm.
It's like she's a 26-year-old graphic designer living in Portland, building her life like someone you could just run into at a coffee shop.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Right. Or like, at some art fair or something.
Yeah.
And then suddenly she vanishes.
I think it's that suddenness that really hooks
Yeah.
you right from the start.
Completely.
She doesn't show up for work, no answer on her phone.
Right.
Her roommates find her apartment unlocked.
Oh, yeah.
Signs of a struggle.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
Oh, yeah. Thriller material.
It's like, oh my gosh, where did she go?
Yeah.
And then her car turns up, abandoned a few days later.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, with no clues.
It's unsettling, right? Like, what do you even...
It's like, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you do?
What even happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's the lack of answers that really
Mhm.
drives the whole mystery forward.
Totally.
That unlocked door, the car.
Right.
It just doesn't add up.
Yeah. And then, we hear about Lucas West,
Oh, yeah.
her boyfriend, a software engineer, right?
Yeah, a little older than her.
Mm-hmm.
And their relationship, well,
Not exactly a fairy tale.
not a fairy tale at all.
Right.
Yeah. The podcast was hinting at some like controlling behavior on Lucas's part,
Mhm.
even some shady business dealings.
That's where things started to get interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Those seemingly ordinary details,
Yeah.
they take on a whole new meaning
Yeah.
when you've got a disappearance like this.
True.
Like, suddenly it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
those rumors about him,
Yeah.
could there be more to it?
Totally.
The podcast definitely uses those details to,
Yeah.
build that suspicion around him.
Oh, for sure.
It's clever how they do that.
And then the really big twist.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
6 years before Sarah disappears,
Mm-hmm.
Lucas's previous girlfriend, Emily Carter,
Yeah.
vanishes under almost the exact same circumstances.
And they never found her body.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, okay, this is not a coincidence.
Right. What are the chances?
Yeah.
It's statistically so unlikely
Yeah.
two women connected to the same man
Right.
both disappear.
Yeah.
And in such similar ways, it's like that detail, it just shifts everything.
Yeah,
Puts Lucas right in the spotlight.
for sure.
So obviously the police start digging into his life,
Right.
see if they can find anything.
Yeah. And at first, he seems to have an alibi.
Oh, yeah, the tech conference.
Yeah, he was out of town
Right.
when Sarah vanished.
But then
Nathan.
things get really interesting.
Yeah. And this is where you see how important digital footprints have become
Oh, yeah.
in these investigations.
It's like a whole new world of evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
You leave a trail everywhere you go these days.
Yeah. And the police find out that he'd been tracking Sarah's phone
Wow.
and her social media. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah,
That's creepy.
I know. And they learned from her friends that she was actually scared to break up with him.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. So you think the investigation is totally focused on Lucas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
But
another
nothing else.
twist.
And then
Another twist.
Oh, I love this podcast.
I know. Remember that surveillance footage of Sarah?
Yeah.
The morning she disappeared?
Yeah.
It turns out she was with someone,
Okay.
but it wasn't Lucas.
Who was it?
It was some mysterious, unidentified person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now, like, the whole direction of the investigation changes,
It's like starting all over again almost.
Yeah.
It's like if Lucas wasn't the one who took her,
Right.
who was this other person?
Yes.
And what did they want with her?
Yeah. It's like, was Lucas involved in
Hmm.
something bigger than we thought?
Maybe he hired someone
Yeah.
to get rid of her.
Oh, that's scary.
Right.
I know. I
Yeah.
was completely hooked at that point.
Me too. So what happens next? That mystery person just throws everything off, doesn't it?
Totally.
But as the podcast goes on,
Yeah.
it turns out Lucas's business dealings, those were just like the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
The podcast reveals he's connected to this human trafficking ring
Oh, my God.
operating in Portland.
Wow. So they're just like right there,
Yeah.
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it,
Uh-huh.
about these criminal networks.
Scary to think about.
Yeah, and earlier
Yeah.
you mentioned like the psychology of these networks.
Mm-hmm.
Did that detail kind of like resonate with you at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what I found really interesting was that the podcast made it clear that Lucas,
Mm-hmm.
while he wasn't directly involved in Sarah's disappearance,
Right.
one of his associates
Yeah.
was deep in this trafficking ring.
Right.
It just shows how these networks can
Yeah.
be so interconnected,
Yeah.
even if someone like Lucas
Hmm.
tries to distance himself.
Yeah, it's like you're still part of it,
Yeah.
whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, exactly. Like those degrees of separation
Yeah.
can still lead back to something really awful.
Right. And someone might think
Mm.
they're just, on the edge of it,
Yeah.
but their actions or their connections can
Right.
contribute to something so much bigger.
Totally. So the investigation shifts
Yeah.
away from Lucas and to this whole trafficking ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say,
Yeah.
I was starting to think at that point
Mm-hmm.
that the trail had gone cold.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think?
Well, I felt kind of the same way, but then again, it's a fictional podcast, right?
Well, that's true.
And they love to keep us guessing.
Oh, they do.
So just when it seems hopeless,
Yeah.
the police get this anonymous tip
What?
leading them to an abandoned warehouse
Yeah.
on the outskirts of Portland.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me they found the
Right.
trafficking ring's headquarters?
Well, not exactly headquarters,
Okay.
but they uncovered evidence
Okay.
directly linking the ring to Sarah's disappearance.
Wow.
It was a big breakthrough. Okay. It confirmed their suspicions
Mhm.
and gave them proof that she'd been taken.
Okay, so they have
Mhm.
evidence.
Yeah.
They have a location,
Mm-hmm.
but still no Sarah.
Right.
So what happens next?
Well, the podcast really builds up the tension.
Okay.
The police plan this raid on the warehouse.
Okay.
Hoping to catch the traffickers
Okay.
and maybe find Sarah.
I bet you were on the edge of your seat, huh?
Totally. Were you?
Oh, absolutely.
So did they rescue her?
Yeah. Did they?
The raid went well.
Okay.
They arrested several key players in the ring,
Okay.
but Sarah wasn't there.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's heartbreaking.
it is. But hold on. The podcast is called what?
The Vanishing of Sarah Turner. A case of secrets and lies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've had secrets,
Mhm.
but not so many lies yet.
Yeah, that's true. Is there another twist coming?
You bet there is.
Okay.
The lies go deeper than anyone thought during
Mhm.
interrogation.
No.
One of the traffickers admits that Sarah was moved out of state
When?
shortly after she was taken.
Oh, my gosh. So the trail goes cold again.
Yeah, it does.
At this point, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
are we going to get a happy ending?
I think that's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, the podcast plays with our expectations,
Mm-hmm.
keeps us guessing,
Yeah.
but it also reminds us of,
Yeah.
the work that goes into these investigations.
Yeah. It would have been easy
Yeah.
for the police to just give up,
Totally.
but they don't.
I don't.
They keep digging,
Yeah.
following every lead.
Every single one.
Yeah.
No matter how small.
They don't want Sarah to become just another statistic.
Right. That dedication really stands out.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like they refuse to let her be forgotten.
Yeah. And that's something you often see in
Yeah.
true crime.
Yeah.
Real and fictional people dedicating their lives to seeking justice.
It's true.
Speaking for those who can't speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
So the investigation goes national.
Okay. What happens next? Do they find Sarah?
Yeah, it gets really intense. They're
Yeah.
following every lead,
Mm-hmm.
interviewing people,
Yeah.
piecing together all these bits of information,
Right.
just refusing to give up.
Yeah. It's like what we were saying before
Right.
about how these stories,
Yeah,
they show you how dedicated people can be.
absolutely. Even
Ah.
the fictional ones,
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate the real-life investigators even more.
Yeah, totally. You can get caught up
Yeah.
in the plot twists, but
Mhm.
you got to remember the real people
Yeah.
affected by this stuff.
Exactly.
Families waiting,
Yeah.
investigators working so hard,
Yeah.
right?
It's a good reminder
Yeah.
that there are people out there who really care,
Yeah.
who won't stop
Mm-hmm.
until the truth comes out.
Yeah. I like how Criminal Shadows
Yeah.
doesn't shy away from that. you know?
No, they don't. The emotional side of things.
Yeah.
Like they weave in those personal stories so
Yeah.
you really understand the impact.
Absolutely. Makes it more real, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So after all that searching,
Mm-hmm.
do they get a break in the case?
So remember those rumors they were chasing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of them leads them to Nevada.
What?
Yeah, like a remote location.
Okay.
They think there's another operation there,
Aha.
another trafficking ring.
Okay.
So they set up surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
Gather intel.
Okay.
Get ready to raid the place.
This is it, huh?
This is it.
So did they find her?
Yeah, tell me.
The raid is super tense.
Okay.
Like you're right there with them.
Mm.
They planned it so carefully.
Oh my gosh.
And they find Sarah.
Oh, thank goodness. I was getting
I did
worried.
too.
That's the ending we all wanted.
Yeah, definitely.
She's alive.
She's alive.
Yeah.
But she's been through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell it's a really powerful moment.
Not just relief,
Mm-hmm.
but also,
Yeah.
how resilient people can be.
Right.
Like to go through something like that.
Yeah. What about the traffickers? Did they get him?
Yeah, the raid was a success.
Okay, good.
They took down the whole operation
Okay.
and arrested everyone responsible.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. It's like,
Yep.
even though it's a made-up story,
Yeah,
there's still that glimmer of hope,
there is.
Yeah. It reminds you that there are people fighting
Yeah.
for justice.
Working so hard to hold people accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
And it makes you think
It does.
about the real dangers out there
Yeah.
and the importance of never giving up hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was quite a deep dive.
It was.
The Sarah Turner case.
A lot of twists and turns.
Secrets and lies. And thankfully,
Thankfully.
good over evil in the end.
The best kind of ending.
It is. So until next time,
Yeah.
stay curious, stay informed.
And stay safe.
We'll see you then.
Bye.